Okay, so now you know what job you're looking for, an SDR. But before we start applying for jobs, there's a few things you're going to want to do to make yourself an attractive applicant for these roles. Number 1, read some books. Number 2, take some free courses. Number 3, get your resume looking good. Number 4, make your LinkedIn profile look incredible. Those are the 4 things we need to do before we go anywhere. Let's talk about some books that you should read. Number 1, Gap Selling is a really good book. Fanatical Prospecting by Jeb Blunt. You Can't Teach a Kid to Ride a Bicycle at Seminar by David Sandler. Getting a fundamental understanding of how sales works will help you in the interview process and give you a leg up over people who have never worked in sales before. Next up, some courses that you can take. There are some really reputable ones. I don't want you going out there and paying for courses if you don't have to. It shouldn't cost you money to get a job in sales. Most companies will bring you in and train you themselves. However, there are some free courses that I've done myself that I would recommend. Head on over to LinkedIn, go to the learning section, and type in sales. There's a course in here called the Sales Fundamentals, which will give you a really good idea of how B2B sales work. Another free course you can go through, it's called the SaaS Sales Foundations. It's 20 hours, self-paced, it has some tests at the end as well, and if you score highly on those tests, Aspireship even has services that they can help you land a job with some of their clients. A new one that's come on the scene called TrainYo, another one very similar to Aspireship who might be able to help you get a job once you finish their course as well, and it's totally free. Okay, so you've read some books, you've done some free courses, now it's time to polish up that resume. This is mine, it's not totally up to date because I haven't been applying for jobs lately. Sales feed, please don't fire me. I've got a brief bio, all of my contact information at the top, and then I've got my experience. Now, I have worked in sales, so I'm gonna write all about my sales experience, my achievements, my quota attainment, my quota, my average deal sizes, all of those things. However, if you haven't worked in sales before, let's say you're a bartender, try pull out the relevant parts of your job and list them in your resume. So for example, if it was your job to upsell to a certain beverage, or if you're a server and you had to upsell to a certain promotional item in Ruby Tuesdays, let's say, well, that's technically sales. So try and pull out any metrics you can from your current job. You were punctual, you led the team in the number of beverage sales every single night. You were the upselling champion. You got great customer feedback online, always. Do little things like that to make your experience that you have, although not directly sales related, try and relate it into sales so that way any hiring managers can get a good idea of who you are and show that you're driven. Underneath all of your experience, you want to make sure you list your education. Now, I didn't talk about this earlier, but it's going to be a lot easier to get a job in tech sales if you have a degree. And the reason for that is that most tech companies list a degree as a requirement to get a job. However, it is my and many hiring managers' personal beliefs that you do not need a degree to work in sales. My business management degree did nothing to aid me in my sales skills. So if you don't have a degree, don't be discouraged. Still follow the process that I'm showing, and I'll show you some ways to stand out even though you may not meet all of the requirements listed for the job ad. Some of the best salespeople I know were able to get into sales with no experience, no degree. I know one guy, his name's Jed Marley, 17 years old. He was the youngest SDR to ever be hired at PandaDoc. He had no high school diploma, he had no degree. He's now a director of outbound sales at a company called Mailshake. Now, in your education section, this is where you can flex some of those extra courses and learnings that I told you about earlier. You can now list those on your resume and show people that you've gone out of your way to learn the extra bits and bobs here and there. List the certifications, list all the courses you've taken, and also list all of the sales books that you've read. By putting some of these sales courses on your resume, you're going to do 2 things. Number 1, show that you're willing to learn and committed to the idea of a career in sales. But number 2, when they're searching these resumes in the applicant tracking system, keywords such as inbound and outbound and cold calling and these certifications are going to pop up. So your resume is going to actually climb to the top of the pile. Okay, so that's your resume. Let's talk about your LinkedIn profile. My profile is a mess. I am a sales influencer.